Their numbers continue to dwindle by the thousands every year. And as each Holocaust survivor passes away, that's one more story lost. In this News 12 Brooklyn special report, our Dana Arschin tells us what those who call themselves second and third generation survivors are doing to make sure we never forget.
While we're still among the last generation of Holocaust survivors, younger generations are stepping up more now than ever before to keep survivors' stories alive. For several months, I set out to learn how the young people are doing just that.
And I always thought I had to find a way to teach those lessons, the lessons of the Holocaust.
And it's here at Edward R. Murrow High School in Midwood where Lisa Wilner, the grandchild of a Holocaust survivor, teaches those lessons.
I was lucky enough to get to teach a class. I learned my own family history related to the Holocaust.
She says it's her duty to keep her family's memories alive, especially since so many survivors choose to remain silent.
In the very beginning, the Holocaust survivors did not want to talk about these things because we believe they are going to say we are crazy, because all these things are beyond human imagination.
But now more survivors are starting to speak out and inspiring younger generations to make sure we never forget.
And I knew my grandparents were in this thing called the Holocaust. But
last May, Wilner invited Holocaust educator Felice Cohen into her classroom.
And I don't know if it was because enough time had passed or because he and I were so close, but he finally told me why.
Cohen is with the nonprofit 3GNY, that's Third Generation New York. It's made up of grandchildren of survivors who share their grandparents' stories in classrooms throughout the tri-state area.
I feel like I carry this, on my sleeve. I carry my grandfather's story, and he's still alive. We're so close, and to see it touching other students, some students who are not even Jewish, who don't have a history like this in their family, that they're moved by this. It makes me feel really good that I am able to bring this in. Well, it was not too long after this the Nazis came back, and this time they took my grandmother and they took her to Auschwitz. Now, you've all heard of Auschwitz, right? Pretty scary place.
10th grader Miriam Toganitsa was so touched during Cohen's presentation, she broke down in tears.
The hardest part is like trying to relate to that, and you can't imagine how these people went through, and that's what really got me.
And another student, Jordan Collins, says hearing a survivor's grandchild talk is an experience he'll never forget.
These are going to be the last generation. Hearing stuff from a textbook won't ever give you the same effect as somebody's personal story.
And that's exactly why survivor Yehuda Lindenblatt goes out of his way to share his story. In April, during Yom HaShoah, which is Holocaust Remembrance Day, Lindenblatt came out to this Manhattan Beach synagogue to spread his message, never forget.
And I will continuously go because I am on the so-called endangered species. And I have to tell everybody.
But not all survivors are as optimistic that their stories will live on.
I am not too confident, to be quite honest. Oh, it will remain for years. Of course, they will talk about it, but eventually it will be part of history.
But Wilner and her peers say they're doing the best they can to make sure the survivors aren't just history. And it seems to be working. Even though Wilner's Holocaust class is an optional one, she says there's never a shortage of students who choose to take the course.
These students have all chosen because there's some part of them that is interested and some part of them that wants to keep teaching the lessons of the Holocaust.
There are approximately 16,000 Holocaust survivors living in our borough now. In 10 years, it's estimated there will be only 10,000 of them still here in Brooklyn. While many survivors fear their stories will be long forgotten, others feel their memories are being left in the right hands to live on.